everybody, and welcome to I Love Being Her podcast. My name is Kimberly, Coach Kimberly. I am your host, and today I got a fabulous guest speaker named Sharon D. Brown, Surfpreneur. She's going to talk to us today about self care and all the importance of making sure that we are taking care of ourselves. And I just wanted to invite you, welcome Ms. Sharon D. Brown to our I Love Being in Her podcast. And I just want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, but first, let me just read some of your awesomeness first before you get on, okay?
Okay.
I want to talk about the beautiful things that you have done and the beautiful things that you keep doing with your with your business. And give me 1 second, guys. I did have it up here in front of me. And I'm just going to read a couple of things that I had up here for her. I am so sorry about that. Let's see. Um, okay, there it goes. It goes. Here it goes. Right here. So it says in 2013, Sharon had a vision to help people differently and had no idea where it will lead her. In 2015, she began the journey by becoming a personal trainer because movement has a healing effect. In that same year, the impact of stress led her to yoga, and by the middle of 2016, she completed a yoga teaching training and fell in love with restorative yoga. In 2017, she walked into Reiki, energy
Reiki.
healing, Reiki, yes, and life coaching, trading with a professional hat on and left as a new person. As a life coaching resonated with her on a personal level, and it was then she truly found her purpose. We love talking about purpose here on the podcast. Excuse me. She discovered we all need healing from something and don't even know it. And self care plays a integral role. So tell us about welcome. So tell us about your why is self care so important, and what made you come to that conclusion?
Yeah. So with self-care, well, first of all, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So I've been working in the mental health field for a long time.
Yes,
And in that, I'm going to say it's twofold. It's what I've seen in the work that I've done and that I do, but also my own personal life. And even though I had seen it in others, but there's just something about it when you experience it yourself, you know what I mean? And so, in saying that, what I truly believe is that we do not put self-care as a priority. It's not intentional that we don't do it. It's kind of unfortunately the way that our society is, the way that our culture is. But however, what I had learned personally, if we don't, then I we are running ourselves into the ground. It's like the very thing that we value the most that we may not even like we can be here, but then not be here. You know what I mean?
I definitely do. It just seem like you're just going, just because you're just constantly going. You're not even present in the moment.
Exactly. And pretty much, just like, what my biography has said, I had faced some personal stress myself, like for me, I want to say with the self-care, it really did start like when I had a breakup several years ago. And I tell the stories like, yeah, I was literally crying for 40 days from 40 nights. But I always like to say, when you're crying for that long, you're not crying about the person, okay?
Exactly. Maybe like a couple of days in, and then that's it.
Exactly. And so, and even by me being a therapist, for me, I knew that talk therapy wasn't for me. because the pain was just so severe. And in that and of itself, and I want to say it depends on kind of like maybe where you are in the world, but in general, like when it comes to yoga and meditation and things like that, it's becoming part of mental health, but it hadn't always been, you know? But I knew enough to know I needed something that connect me to me. And then within that experience and within that journey, what I had come to realize, oh, I can work and I'm doing all of these wonderful things, but then I really wasn't connected with myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like, I know that we continue to be so busy, or if you self care, it's almost like people will probably take it as being selfish. You're
Mhm.
being selfish if you don't want to, if you don't want to do answer that phone call, or if you don't want to do what other people is asking you to do. So you could be considered as selfish. Um, that means that you have no boundaries. You constantly keep going nonstop until you actually now until you actually get yourself sick.
Mhm.
Basically, you basically could get yourself sick for not taking care of yourself, or make it worse. You know, what do you say about that for those who may think that, okay, well, if I try to do self care, I might be selfish, or like for moms with children, young children, oh, they want time out from their kids. Oh, they not good moms anymore, or wives with their husbands or something like that with families, or just a person who's always constantly being called on in their family. Um, what do you say about that? What do you say about to those people who just feel like they just don't have time for self care?
Yeah. The first thing that I would say is that, first of all, self care is not selfish. It's not selfish at all. And actually, the true essence of living, like in order to give ourselves to truly others, we have to take care of ourselves. And even though it may seem counterintuitive, especially for individuals, who are partner, and for individuals who have children, if you do not take the time with yourself, then I guess you could say time will end up taking you
It sure
in,
will.
yeah, in one form or another. And the thing is, when it comes to our being, I'm going to say this, and this is a revelation I've had recently, in that even though we're hardwired for connection, but I'm beginning to think that it may not be in the way that we always thought that it was. Even though we can be of service to others, but I think that connection is really for us to get connected with ourselves.
Right, right,
In the sense that we need other people to help with, the wonderful parts of ourselves, but also the parts where we need to do that shadow work, because it shows up in
right.
different interactions that we have, you know? So
Yeah,
in all is for us to continue to heal and evolve. And that's the reason we need self-care, because if we're always giving and pouring and constantly having contact with people and don't have that opportunity to sit and reflect and to really have that self-awareness, then we won't really know our true selves and be our authentic selves either.
absolutely. That is so true. Like for instance, so we know that self care is definitely not selfish. Uh, there's also a thing where people feel like, well, first of all, with me, with my faith, if you even read it in the Bible, Jesus went off to pray. Jesus stayed in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. He fasted and he prayed. If he could do it, then if he could go away and meditate and talk to the Father, well, not meditate, go and talk to the Father and pray and be alone, what makes us think that we can't,
Mhm.
right? Or like with the Sabbath day, the day of rest. God literally said that you need to have a day of rest. So
Mhm.
I don't know where people got this notion of, oh, you sleep when you're dead or you rest when you're dead. That is like, I don't know who came up with that crazy thing because that makes no sense at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay. That makes no sense at all. And you do need to be poured back into whenever be poured out. Well, like say like I'm on a prayer team. We pray after we pray with other people. We go back into another room and we pray out. We pray and then you leave that stuff there. So self care helps us to leave certain things there and not have to take it with us. So I feel like it's better for us to have self care than for me to, I guess, not blow up, but like just be so frustrated and so overwhelmed that I'm taking it out on everybody else, and when it's like misdirected anger or frustration on other people. So you did say that self care is very important. It's almost like in that when you on a plane and they tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first because you can't help somebody else
Mhm. Not
when
at
you
all.
suffer. So self care is very important. Um, what is some ways that somebody could do self care when they feel like their day is like so full, or just say like if you just came home from work and you know you made dinner and you put the kids away. What is one of the ways that you could do self care? Do you go right to bed and just call that self care right after the kids, or is there something important, another step that's important to do before your bedtime routine? Is this
Yeah. And And so when it comes to that, one thing I want to say is everyone definition of self-care may be different,
okay?
but in essence, it's not always the bubble baths and the chocolate and the massages. And even though it does include those things, but it also include all the other things too, the things that you do for yourself, not just to relax, but also for you to evolve. And there's a big piece of self-awareness of you being able to do things. And so in general, my definition of self-care is any activity, any ritual, any practice that you do that's going to help for you to be the best version of yourself. And so in saying that, with your question, it's pretty much anything that someone can do to help them either to relax or to energize them. Because sometimes people forget about that part because it's like, oh, I just need to relax. But sometimes it could be what energy that you need. And it's not as, I guess you could say, it can be very simple. It can be because sometimes some families really are like extremely busy and really depends on the day of, especially if a person, like is a single parent or something like that. So anytime you can have a moment to yourself, to have a thought in your mind of how you want to be, it's like, hey, I want to be in a calming state, and you can take that deep breath so you can pretty much kind of like reset or settle your nervous system, because that's the other part of it too. Because if you go, pretty much you are like making the nervous system work extra hard. And if it's not settled, then it will always be, in the fight, flight, freeze, and that's not good. That's how, high blood pressure and all of that other stuff and heart disease end up being. So it can be just as simple and as many times that you can do, let's say, just in taking a breath and dance and listening to some music. And I was like to say, make it fun, because sometimes some people may think of self-care too as extra work.
Oh no.
I know, right? But it doesn't have to be. Sometimes it can be, some of the other things too, but it's those things. It can be reading, reading affirmations, reading a poem, reading your favorite book, just doing something to really help, again, either to settle your nervous system or to boost it as
Right.
well.
I love that. Thank you. What do you think about? I was thinking while you was talking, maybe like I know that people get so busy during the day. Maybe like yoga before you start work, yoga before you go get into bed, or something like that. What do you think about that? Like doing some stretches and movements before you get your day started and before you go to bed at night.
Oh, yes. Those are some wonderful things there. Those are definitely wonderful. I'll put it like this, any way in which someone can have some movement and
Mm-hmm.
also a way that they can connect with themselves. And the other thing is that because one thing that I try to remind people of, because I think I want to say for the most part, most people, or at least they are try to do something in the morning and something in
Right.
the evening. But it's also very important for them to do something during the day too. So even if you just take 5 minutes, to take that deep breath, to go for a walk, to do, if you can do something during your lunch break, because again, with all the stressors and all the different things that's happening in people's lives, even, like within an 8 hour period, if you're constantly on the go, that's really not good for the nervous system
Oh,
either.
wow, no, it's not. It's not. I always try to, well, I maybe did it. I'm not consistent with it, but I will go to the gym at lunchtime
Hmm.
and go on a treadmill. I will either run or just walk for 30 minutes or something like that. So I feel like sometimes that would make it helps my mindset, help me get back into, it's focused focus back to what I was doing before, or, if I have, because I'm always on the phone all day
Hmm.
for my job. So sometimes I do need that run.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I need that walk or something like that. Yeah. Now, mind you, now I do want ice cream from time to time, though. Like right now, I'm like, I don't have anything sweet in this house, but you probably don't need it.
We're having some treats are very good too. That's a form of self-care as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh, and I usually wear my Apple Watch, and sometimes my Apple Watch be like, "Oh, it's time to stand up," and I'll be like, "Didn't I just stand up?" But it's like it tells me to stand up at least a minute, 12 times a day because I'm sitting down a lot on a
Mhm.
computer. So sometimes it tells me like, "Oh, it's time to stand up," and I'm like, "Already? Didn't I just sat down?" But for some reason, like I could be standing up, walking around doing something, like I'm busy doing something else, but it just wants me to just stand up. That's it. Don't do anything else. Just stand. like, but yeah, so I didn't wear it today only because I'm like it would just keeps buzzing,
Mm,
telling me to do stuff. But I kind of like that. I like that. What do you think about those Apple, like the watches and stuff that just reminds you, hey, we got, don't forget to drink your water, or hey, don't forget to stand up. Okay, we need to some movement because in case we stand, if you sit down too long, they want you to be active all day. Like not all day, but it wants you to be active. Breaking
yeah,
up your
yeah.
day.
I get what you say. Yeah, those things are wonderful because the thing is, we have so much information that's going through our mind. And to be honest, especially if you really focus and like you said, you're on the call. And so because I've worked like in a call center myself in the past. Oh, sorry about that. And and basically, when you're like focused, you can forget to do the things that's good for you. So those apps and those things are really good reminders where, it's good to be intentional about it, but just in case you forget, you know, that then it would be really, really good, to have those things that can help remind you and to keep you on track. And then also, I don't know if you have one where you can go back and look at it, because sometimes you can say, okay, well, maybe I need to change my behavior or do more of this or do less of this, and how many times you did it or not. So it's also good to be able to track our own behaviors as well and make any adjustments that's necessary.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for that. So tell us more about self-carepreneur. What is that? Like, what is?
Yeah, pretty much with self-care preneur is that entrepreneur and self-care. And one thing I can say is that there are some entrepreneurs, who, make sure that self-care is a part of their life, but there's a lot of people who are not, you know.
Those are the people who
And
gotta keep going.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the thing is, a lot of times when it comes to like medical challenges, even though, it can hit anyone regardless, it can be someone who's extremely healthy as well. However, if you're highly stressed and constantly doing a lot, you're at a high risk of, high blood pressure, heart disease, and some other things. And it's not just that, it's also a part of our mental and emotional well-being as well. And so with the self-carepreneur, it's pretty much as a reminder of to take care of yourself. And if you look at like an entrepreneur, because like I'm new to entrepreneurship, myself. And but if you even just look at what an entrepreneur have to do, that's self-care. Put it like this, you have to have self-care in and of itself to be an entrepreneur. And part of it, let's just say with the mindset, if you don't know, your mindset is going to have to be changed and it's going to be challenged. But as you involve in, I'm trying to think. Let's say, for instance, like being an entrepreneur and being on social media, doing content creation. So I need to learn about how to create that. That's a part of self-care as well. It's about me learning. It's about me bettering myself so I can be a better servant. And so sometimes people may not think about those things. And let's just say, for instance, because like some people, when it comes to social media, especially like being on camera, a lot of times some people are like, oh, I don't like to. I know when I first started, I didn't, but that was one of the reasons that I got on camera, is so that I can, like decrease that anxiety. And so a part of self-care sometimes for some people is to look at like what is going on within that makes you shy away or just don't want to do it, even though you have a message to share. And so it's really looking at every aspect of ourselves so that we can be authentic, so that we can be the best version of ourselves, and so that we can be the servants that we are. And we can do all the, put it like this, we can be of service, but if we're not taking care of our own body, our own vessel, then we won't be a complete, authentic, servant to others.
Absolutely. I agree. That is so good. We need to take care of ourselves, even when it comes to our ministry, when it comes to our home is our ministry. When it comes to the things that we're doing that God is entrusting in us, we need to learn to take care of ourselves. Um, we need to learn to take care of our mind, body, soul, and spirit, all of it, to be in alignment, to be in alignment what He has called us to do. So tell us about what you offer to us to help us to take care of ourselves better. Because I know it's more than just like you said, chocolates and showers and baths and stuff like that. It's so much more. It is so much
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And so with self care you academy, pretty much what that is that I help entrepreneurs and help leaders safeguard their sanity and superpower their self-care so that they can thrive under stress. and then also where they won't lose themselves. Because the other thing is, we can be out here doing all of this wonderful stuff, but we can lose ourselves. So with that, one of the things that I do is, offer different type of services. My aim is to, shall I say, do some coaching and things like that, and offer meditation as well as different courses, and to go out into the community and to be able to offer services as well.
That's good. That's good. Can you tell us how we can find you? And
Yes, yes, you definitely can. You can find me at selfcareuacademy.com. That's my website. And then I'm also on LinkedIn as Sharon D. Brown, and also on Instagram as well as I am Sharon D. Brown. And the other thing I want to add, because you were saying, what I'll have to offer with Self Care U Academy, one of the goals that I have is to offer like on demand courses and
mm,
different types of workshop. And I have recently created a daily business tracker. And with this daily business tracker, what it does is, because what I realize is, wait a minute, I'm all over the place. And again, self care is to be able to center yourself. And so with this tracker, it pretty much has, a space where you can write your informations. I have a framework called the 7 M's, as well as you can write the word for the day, but also it's like, hey, where am I with social media? What kind of lead generation that I have, at the end of the day, just say, hey, how much money did I make, and what am I grateful for? Because the thing is, to be honest, if your mind is like in so many different directions, did I, and you don't have something like in front of you to at least remind you, because that's less, mental space that you have to use, then that's something that can be helpful. And so they can, I do have it on the screen. It is Bentley /DBT dash now, where they can get that particular tracker, and it has some bonuses along the way. But all in all, it really does help you stay focused so that you can be, focused on pretty much on the activities that you're want to do or need to do for your business, so you won't be all over the place. And if anything, I kind of look at it, there's two types of entrepreneurs. It's either one, as you kind of said, as work work work, and they don't put in the self-care, so that at least reminds them like, oh yeah, did I do this? And then also for someone who may be new or maybe on the early stages of being an entrepreneur, it can
yes. Uh
into doing help guide them and remembering, of all the different tasks that they need to be doing. And again, with that, it doesn't mean you do them all in one day. It just as a reminder, because put like this, they need to be taken care of.
oh, wow. Thank you so much. I think it was kind of like the internet's lagging, so I didn't want to cut you off. But what was I going to say? I was going to say is that, so tell us, you was telling us about the tracker. I was trying to write it down, but you said it. I
Oh,
tried
I'm
to-
sorry.
what is it? Bitly?
Yeah, it's under that Bitly link. It's bit.ly, then / then D as in David, B as in boy, T as in Tom, then dash now.
Okay. Okay, I was trying to get it. I think I did it. Well, I think I did it the other way. Sorry. Okay. We're going to get
Yeah.
it up there. We're going
And
to
for
get it up.
those who are on social media, it is on the screen because I do have it under my name.
Okay, good, 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 good. Thank you so much for that. So, what else do we have to offer? What else do we have to look forward to with your workshops? Is it in person or can they do it on online? Is there something that they can follow?
Yeah, and so with the workshop, I would say those are custom made, and so meaning any groups or organizations or corporations um, that want me to come and do a workshop, then I'm more than happy, to do that. And then when it comes to, let's just say, individuals, I have like different upcoming workshops that I would do. And there are a couple of things that I do have on demand as well, especially like my 21-day journey. I'm like, everybody needs that
Who's
because of the
that?
fact sometimes you forget, I put it like this: when things are hard, you forget who you are. You can't
We sure
forget who
are.
you
Yes.
are. So it's a
Yes.
reminder of like the different things that you've learned like on a job, and then it pretty much have come between your job and your home because you can't separate them. You know what I mean? You can't,
Now,
yeah, you
as an
can't separate them
entrepreneur.
at all. So
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're looking forward to that. That's on your website too, right there, where they could get in contact with you.
yes, yes, they'll find different things on my website as well as, on social media as well. But we're evolving over here. And the main thing is one, to remind entrepreneurs and leaders to stay connected with yourself and to
Yeah.
do those things to help, settle you, but to also, boost your energy as well. And just always, be in an evolving state so you can be of service of, whether you work a 9 to 5 or you're an entrepreneur in whatever it is that you do, but do the things so that you could take care of yourself because,
I know.
we want you to be able to continue to serve.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I keep picking up stuff. Like, well, I do the podcast, and I know I have. I'm going to school to get my master's, and look, I forgot. Master's in organizational psychology. Of course, you got to go to school with something that's with a long name, organizational psychology. And I host also two Bible studies, but they're not together. But the school part, of course, I got to do every day. The work part, of course, I got to do every day. So I feel like my self care would probably be having, it's probably wrong. It's probably not healthcare to everybody else, but having a delicious, nice snack. I always want to eat like something like a treat. I always want to have something that I sit there and I enjoy it. I will sit there and eat it. I'm not working. I'm not on a computer. I'm not doing anything. I
Hmm.
am in the moment,
Yeah.
eating my ice cream or
Yeah.
eating my cookie or something like that. I am really in the moment. That's. I'm sorry, but that's my self.
Hey, that is
I know I
your
could do more.
self-care. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I probably could be doing more, but that's what makes me happy. That's what makes me happy. This makes me happy too because I love doing podcasts. I love meeting people. I love speaking. I love talking. So that's my passion. I love doing that. I think all the things I actually love doing, nothing ever feels like work to me, except for the
And
night.
that's a good thing.
Probably except
That's
for
a
the
good
night.
thing.
But I
Yeah.
like in the call center too. I like speaking on the phone. I like talking to people. So I think I just like talking. Like talking. But I think I truly believe that my self care is always like having like a snack or something that I want. Just something. Just 5 minutes of a long time or just me time. I'm good. I can get back into the swing of things.
Hmm. And again, that's something that relaxes you, and you have something that energizes you.
Yeah. 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 I love it. I love it. So I'm glad you approved because I thought you were gonna be like that's not self care. But I'm glad that you approved with that. Yeah. So I do. I like it. So what else can we expect from you, Miss Sharon?
Yeah, yeah. And so, one of the things that I'm striving for is to get into more organizations and corporations, and
Right.
really, even though I say that too, but definitely entrepreneurs, so that we can really integrate self care and really be healthy. Because the other thing is that I didn't talk about it actually, I didn't talk about it at all here. But, like, when it came to my parents, it was like the medical challenges that they had. It's like they both have worked really hard all of their life, and then later on in life, having so many medical problems. And even though sometimes, it is what it is, but also at the same time, do we do the things that need to be done so that we can take care of ourselves, so that we as individuals don't have the medical challenges, but then also too, so that it won't be stressful for your family, even though your family is going to do what needs to be done, but it is not easy at all, you know and that's something, even though for some people, especially doing the hard stuff of self-care, because self-care isn't always easy, because it could be going to the gym, it could be eating the right food, it could be even having uncomfortable conversations, because that's going to do something to your body, you know. And so again, I'll be doing some workshops, with that. Some of it would be online, some of it would be in the community as well. But, part of it is bringing more awareness, but then also of developing a community, because let's just say we talk about grief, for instance. We know about it, and sometimes people don't always talk about it. And even in being an entrepreneur, of all the different things that we learn, but sometimes we need a space or a container where we can just be, you know? And so that is something that I am offering. And then the other thing is, I've offered it in the past. And I've I'll put it like this, I'll be offering in the future too. It's called Fortitude Spirit Ritual. It's on Saturdays at 7 a.m. And pretty much what it really is, it's an opportunity for, one, you can learn different ways of how you can do self-care. And let's say, for instance, we may do some meditation, we may do some yoga, we may be doing some jumping jacks, or we may be doing something that's challenging, because it's not just in being an entrepreneur, but being human. How do we navigate the different aspects of life? And one thing that I've learned, one, being a therapist, but then also in being human, if we are not really practicing for the wars that come upon us, practicing for the storms, it's okay, to pray, but we also need to make sure we're mentally prepared, because a lot of times we're not training to be mentally prepared, you know? And so, with that, with the Fortitude Spirit Rituals, is one way to, it can help settle you, it can energize you, but it can also challenge you as well. And we need, more communities like that. So that we can be prepared, like for entrepreneurship, and then for the storms of life. And so those are, some of the things that I'm working on and inviting people to.
Okay, that's good. That's nice. Is that 42 spirit ritual? What's the spirit ritual? What was that? What does that look like for those that might sign up? How you engage
Yeah,
it?
yeah. With the Fortitude Spirit Ritual, pretty much what it is again, it's on Saturdays at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is different activities or practices, such as it can be. different types of meditation. It can be meditating in silent, or meditation with the block breathing, or it can be where we're working on challenging ourselves. It's like, can you sit down for a period of time with distracting music and then be able to concentrate on something? You know what I'm saying? And so it's different ways of how you can challenge yourself, or different ways of how you can pretty much just be. Because one thing that I've discovered is that if we're not challenging ourselves, and if we're not developing different ways of self-care, it's like, how do we navigate challenges, and how do we navigate disappointments? And just by, it's almost kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with the original Karate Kid. And with the original Karate Kid, just by him even doing karate, it really helped him, one, with the bullies, but also just helped him develop into a magnificent person as well. So it's kind of like setting yourself up and doing different things, so that, especially as an entrepreneur, because it's not just about, like having the coaching programs and doing all of these wonderful things that's needed, but also, when it comes to our mind, and when it comes to our body, when it comes to our spirit. So it is something that I am developing and offering to individuals, so that, you can continue. Even, I'm going to say it like this: even though as humans, we don't want to think of ourselves of being prepared for mental war, being prepared, but when we don't, again, if there were certain, again, even though I didn't know it, but if there were certain things that I would have known about myself, then I wouldn't have been crying for 40 days and 40 nights. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't know that there were some unresolved things inside of me either. But when we're really, consciously working through something, or even just doing something hard or challenging, or just, doing different different ways of how we can be, then sometimes, even unknowingly, certain things can, escape from us, and, it may not always become conscious. But yeah, in trying to really get people, more so in the mindset, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, not just in walking, but definitely be in a space where I may need to let the week go, or I may need to prepare for the upcoming week.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I tell you, when I get ready, I put on throughout the day, because I know I got to talk to people, and sometimes you get a different variety of people. So I make sure, of course, I pray, I read my word, I make sure that I say my affirmations on who I am. And I get it with the breaking up and going through those relationships, because again, to me, I didn't know who I was until I found that, until I started reading, going deeper into His words, and but I'm created in His image,
Mm-hmm.
and He made me beautifully and wonderfully made. So it's like, okay, this is all these things. And I'm like, okay, I was really messed up over you. Yeah, I definitely didn't know who I was back then, but now I know who I am, and nobody's gonna stand in the way of that. But for me, every day, like I said, I read my word, and I have my gospel music on. Now there are some songs when I would say her name, but she'll respond. When she puts on one of those songs, I start have to, put the phone on mute just a little bit and just start giving him some praise. But that's what I do. I would do all of that. But that is challenging to hear something that really resonate, make you want to move your body, to try to sit still and not move at
Yeah.
all. That is going to be kind of hard. Um, yeah, to just focus. But I sometimes need to move and dance or walk around, just for the simple fact that, because when you're talking to other people, you also taking in whatever
Mm-hmm.
they're feeling, or they could try their bad behavior or bad mood could try to change yours. but that's
Mhm.
the spirit. So then, of course, I have to be constantly like, I'm in prayer mode all day, all day. But sometimes I catch myself where I feel like, wait a minute, I can feel it inside of me revving up whenever time they coming in, they start on 10. And I feel
Mhm.
like I'm the nicest person in the world. So when you come in, I feel like it's an attack. But then I have to realize they are not attacking you. It's whatever
Mhm.
that they're going on and whatever they're feeling at the moment. It's don't have anything to do with you. So that's one thing. I'm like, okay, so I have to stop myself right there because we always thinking that these attacks have something to do with you. Yes, the
Mhm.
enemy probably wants you to bring you down, but it's not about you. It's not about you. So I just, in
Mm.
a way, I come back around. I could actually take control of that situation and bring them down from a 10 to a 1. Now they call me
Mhm.
on the phone. Because first of all, when you're talking to me, when you call me and you want something from me, so in order to get something from me, you gotta have something on just a little bit where I can hear you. Because I could go into mama mode and be like, I'm not one of your kids, but I can't say that. But in my mind, I'll be sitting there like, no, or a teacher. I'll be like, I'm gonna need you to bring it down from a level 10 to a 1 so I can hear you. Because right now I can't hear you when you're
Yeah.
yelling. So, so in order for us to get somewhere, I need you to bring it down. So, I just be telling everybody all my business when I get on here. But yeah,
That is so funny. And then the thing is, like with everything that you just said, that is what self care is all about. Because, like you said, you want to exert a certain energy. And then if you happen to feel someone else's energy may be different, especially, I'm going to say, not at a higher vibration, then you're able to address that as well. And then a lot of times, too, because like you were saying, sometimes you may read, sometimes you may dance and do so many different things. And that's what it takes. It takes all of that. And so that we can be in the present moment.
absolutely. I agree.
Hmm.
I agree. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on here, sharing all the love with us today, telling us about you, Miss Sharon. I can't wait to get you on here.
Yeah, yeah. And it's been a pleasure being here. I mean, this is such a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. So tell us what before you get hop off of here for the night and get rested. What would you like for your audience to know today about something? Yeah, like one or two things. What should they be doing at least to get started before they come to you? What is one little small thing they could do right now? You know, to get
Yeah, the one of the smallest thing that I would say that they can do, take 5, whether that's 5 moments, 5 minutes, 5 seconds to just breathe. Take that deep breath, and breathe. And ideally to do it for 5 minutes and do it as often as you can because you really just don't realize how much that can really just reset you, our body, our mind, and our spirit. It is always, to be honest, just kind of like on the go. Or is always receiving something, and so that we can hear and we can see and we can feel, and again being in that present moment and taking that deep breath is something that can really help. And like I said before, most people are pretty good about, doing something in the morning, doing something in the evening. But the more you can do something throughout the day is even better. Because it's almost like, just think about your bodies, in the washing machine, you only get to breathe, when it stops. But no, we want you to, take
right.
more breaths than that.
Absolutely. Like we don't want to get some rest when we stop. No. Well, let's do it now.
Mm-mm. Not at all, not at all. And so, but yeah, just take those moments of, I would say take 5 and then take a moment to reflect, because self-awareness is where you're going to gain, like what you need, what your next stop is, where that wisdom comes from. And then move in whatever way, that benefits you, whether it's yoga, whether it's dancing, whether it's stretching, whether it's walking, doing some type of movement is really important, because kind of like what you were saying earlier, it's like other people's energy can be embedded in us, but then also too, by us moving, it just helped release,
Yeah,
some stresses
it's a
that we probably
release.
didn't even know that we had.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much, my friend. I said this must be a way that I could just start writing down all these people are my friends now. Whenever they come on my podcast. I have some intelligent, some smart women that's come on here. Now there's some men that's on here too that want to talk about their vision, their passion. You're welcome to come on. I love being her, which I would just title it to I love being him.
Yeah.
Just for you. But Miss Sharon, thank you so much for your thoughts, your wisdom. And if there's anything else you want to share with us, you
The
can.
main thing I just want to say, hey, make sure you get that tracker, because it is something that can definitely help you out, to help you stay focused, to integrate the business side and integrate the personal side as well.
Absolutely. Y'all hear that? Make sure you get that tracker. Okay. And thank you for joining us on this evening of I Love Being Her. And we will talk to y'all again soon. And Miss
Yeah,
Sharon, you're
yeah.
welcome back anytime. Okay.
But thank you so much. And I enjoyed being here.
Thank you so much. I want to end this, but you stay right here. Okay.
Okay.